Okay, let's try to regain some sanity on this show and go out to Sacramento, California for our next guest. He is the WWE champion. He is the voice of the voiceless. He is the best in the world. Mr. CM Punk joining us on the show again. CM, how are you?
Yeah, you know, if you want some sort of sanity brought to your show, I'm the wrong guy to put on it.
Yeah, it's almost fitting to end it this way. I don't know if you heard what happened in the first hour, but we're going to try to end it on a high note here with you. So we appreciate the time.
No problem. Anytime.
So you are in Sacramento, right?
Yes, I am. It appears to be beautiful outside.
Now, I have to ask, why you seem to be very ornery lately, a little prickly. What's going on over there?
I don't get a lot of sleep, and I apparently have an attitude problem. So it's just a reflection of the life.
Well, one of the reasons why we wanted to have you on the show is tomorrow, out everywhere, the CM Punk Best in the World 3-disc set DVD or Blu-ray is out. I watched the documentary. It was fantastic. I want to ask you a lot of things, but of course you are, and we'll plug it a little more in a second, but of course you are one of the biggest MMA fans out there, biggest that I know. We had a nice little chat in your apartment about it, and I'm wondering if you watched your good friend Dave Bautista make his MMA debut on Saturday night, and if so, what do you think of it?
I did watch, and I appreciate the plug for the DVD. If anybody's a fan of a good story, I don't think it's a wrestling DVD. It's just a good story. So go get it. You don't got to watch the matches if you're one of those MMA purists and you hate my guts. But the story's pretty cool. I watched. I don't know. I felt kind of guilty watching it on YouTube, like I didn't pay for it or something like that.
Oh.
But I think everybody does that. Because I'm on the West Coast and I didn't know what time it was. I couldn't order it. I didn't know what was going on. So a whole bunch of people sent it to me the next day, and I did watch it. And it's funny. Like I love Dave and I support Dave, and it was one of those. He looked really, really nervous, and apparently he's admitted that. And I don't know if he's proud of his performance, but he won. So what can I say?
Do you think that this is a guy who has a future in this sport, or is he just kind of doing it like a bucket list type of thing?
No, it's definitely a bucket list kind of thing. I think that's awesome, too. I think Dave just wanted to experience it. He wanted to fight, even if it was just one time. It was something that he wanted to do. He loves it, so he put his mind to it, and he did it. And I think that's amazing. I don't think anybody can criticize that. You know what I mean? He has no delusions of grandeur. He's not trying to get a big, fat UFC contract. He's not, trying to coast on his name from the WWE. He's just fighting because he wanted to experience it.
Also, he's 43 years old, making his debut, and he's not like Brock Lesnar, who was, national champion, even Bobby Lashley, who had a great collegiate career. So I think people need to, lay off him a little bit. Like they're almost looking into this a little too much. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, but the haters are gonna, if you're doing something right, you're gonna get criticized. I don't think there's a whole lot of people who would be able to do what Dave did, and those are the ones that are gonna criticize him. Those are the ones that, to me, those are the funniest ones. They say the funniest stuff. They make the funniest comments. They're fun to laugh at.
How do you deal with that? Because I sometimes read your mentions, because after you say something in particular, I was actually talking to Rampage about this. Like, he just blocks everyone on Twitter. How do you just laugh it off? Or do you laugh it off? Or are you the kind of guy who goes on blockathons? Like, how do you deal with that kind of feedback? Because it feels like Twitter these days has reached a whole other level of negativity.
I have yet to, I don't even know how to block anybody on Twitter. I've yet to block anybody. Yeah. Which, if you've ever read anything that gets sent to me, it's pretty amazing. No, you know what? You got to be secure in your own skin. You can't listen to what other people are saying. Because you also have to realize that everybody on Twitter has a voice. And, that's everybody in the world. I don't know how many people that follow me. And, a lot of them, because of my job, are probably 12 years old, So you got to take everything with a grain of salt, but conversely, you also take the positive stuff with a grain of salt. There's a lot of people in my industry who won't believe the negative, but then they'll believe the positive. And then there's the other flip side of the coin is there's people who won't believe the positive, but then believe the negative. And you got to find a balance.
The last time I saw you was, as I mentioned, in Chicago, and you very conveniently placed your gi there in the middle, right in the middle of the shot, just so the world can see it.
I did that so you thought I was cool.
So you could tell the world that you are a jiu-jitsu practitioner. Now, we saw you pop up with the famous Henner Gracie. You guys did a reenactment, a Gracie breakdown of Dan Severn versus Royce Gracie. How is the jiu-jitsu coming along? Are you finding time to train in BJJ these days?
Not at all.
Oh.
Actually,
that's a bummer.
Last week. It's funny. Like I see Henner a little bit on the road because he's doing seminars everywhere, all across the United States. And he kind of, I don't know if it's planned this way or if it just sort of works out this way, but he winds up being around where Monday Night Raw is. And I think it was last week, he was in Oklahoma City. So me and him rolled around for 2 hours, and it was awesome. So that's a week ago was the last time I did anything.
Wow. Is it because of your busy schedule, or you're not into it as much? What's going on?
No, it's definitely because of the busy schedule. There's a lot of times when I don't even go home in between, weeks and stuff like that. And I think I've discussed this with you before. Like sometimes it's hard for me to find a place in Chicago where somebody doesn't want to try to test me. You know what I mean? And like, I just want to kind of go roll around and learn. And somebody's always got to try to be macho and, the champ pro wrestlers here. Let's try to put them in a knee bar. And I despise leg locks, my weakness.
Oh, really?
Oh my God, yeah. I just get nervous because of my knees, and I just get nervous. I'll do that.
Now, why did you guys pick that fight, Severn versus Gracie? I think that fight had a special meaning to you, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was, I think it had a lot to do with Severn being a pro wrestler and, the Gracie lineage and, smaller guy versus bigger guy. And I've watched UFC ever since the beginning, you know what I mean? So I think it was just fun to do.
How's the bus?
The bus is not here in Sacramento, so I got to tell you.
What?
It's kind of a bummer. Yeah, I was in Tulsa Tuesday, and I needed the bus to be in Everett, Washington, or Seattle, I think, to pick me up on Friday. And it's 2,000 miles in 2 days, and my driver bailed, said he couldn't do it. So I'm traveling like a peasant today, this weekend. No, that's horrible. That's a horrible thing to say.
Is it?
I actually like these drives on the West Coast. It's real pretty. It's my favorite season. The leaves are changing, so I get to enjoy it.
Is it the same bus driver every time? Like, is there just one guy who does this?
Yeah, you can go through bus drivers, this is my third.
Oh.
So,
but is it often just you and him in the bus, and does it ever get awkward that it's just you and him?
No, I put Kofi on there. It's my new guys a little, there's a grace period. You got to get used to each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's like you have a roommate. So there's some awkwardness.
So will he pick you up, or do you have to fly back to Chicago? I'm fascinated by this bus because I hate flying, and I dream of a day where I can have a bus like this as well. So I like to know the logistics of it all.
This week, no, I'm going to go hang out in San Francisco. Got some friends to go see.
Oh, all right. So you also came up. You were very much in the MMA world a few weeks ago with the whole Chael Sonnen and John Jones Nike thing. Why did you feel? And you didn't really come out. I feel like TMZ kind of made it into a bigger deal than what it was. But why did you feel the need to tweet what you did about John Jones?
Well, first of all, that's TMZ's job is to make a bigger deal out of everything, and I don't fault them for it. The reason I felt like saying something is it's because I understand, and trust me, I've had this argument with a couple of guys in the locker room. I've talked to a lot of people about this because I think the argument's fascinating. I see both sides. I understand John Jones. His job is to win. He's the champion. He doesn't want to take a fight on short notice. I get that. But if there was no UFC, he wouldn't have this gigantic platform to fight on. And sure, you can make the argument maybe John Jones is going to be the Bellator, 205 champ or whatever you want to say. But is he obligated to the UFC? Does he owe him? No, I guess not contractually, but I just feel, and I'm friends with Chael too. And, I don't know. It would take a fight against an out-of-shape Chael Sonnen just to bail out the company and all the other fighters on the undercard who, feed their kids with the pay they're going to get, whether they won or lost, but they need to fight. It's just, I don't know. It just bothered me. I guess everybody has a different definition of champion. I know obviously John Jones has a different definition of champion. In my business, people go down all the time, and everyone's always looking at the fact that, like you kind of steer the boat. You know what I mean? I guess it's just different in MMA. So I see both sides. I just felt strongly, and it's just my personal opinion. I think he should have fought. 100%.
Actually, someone brought that up to me, how, not even in pro wrestling, also in boxing. I mean, the champion, the headlining act, the main eventer, it's his responsibility. And that's what I was actually going to ask you. Do you feel the same kind of responsibility when you're hurt? Obviously, different forms of entertainment, but if you feel like you can't make it, if you're hurt, if something else is going on, do you feel an obligation to the locker room, to the promotion, to your bosses, that you have to suck it up because you do have the responsibility of being the headlining act?
Yes, absolutely. I certainly do, and I know a lot of other guys do, and people get hurt all the time, but people work hurt all the time too. There's just a very big thought of, the show must go on, and there's guys on the undercard on my shows that they're not getting paid what I'm getting paid, but if, a lot of the times, right now John Cena's hurt. Unfortunately, he had elbow surgery, and it's just like, okay, God forbid, what happens if I get hurt? Like, who headlines the shows? We're kind of in that same pickle that Dana found himself in. Like, it's crazy that they canceled the show. That's just, in my world, that's unfathomable, and I would do everything in my power to make sure that never ever happened.
You're obviously very busy, and I didn't really put two and two together until now, but did you notice, I don't know if you heard any of his interviews, but in a lot of his interviews, he kept comparing his role to the role of a WWF champion. He kept saying, in that sport, they kind of give you the belt, and he kept making that comparison, and at first I wasn't really understanding, and now I'm thinking maybe it was because he heard about what you were saying about him, and he was trying to subtly take a dig at you. Did you hear any of that?
Oh, no, I didn't hear him say anything of that, but that's interesting. And he's absolutely right. There, for all the similarities, there's obviously one big glaring difference. You know what I mean. But I still think there's a responsibility. I still think he toed the line, not necessarily the company line. He doesn't have to be all rah rah. UFC. I'm best friends with the Fajitas and Dana, but I think there's honor among thieves. I think he's got to look at all those other fighters that look up to him and want to be where he's at and follow in his footsteps. And I think he's got to set an example. Here's a guy, he's got kids too. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like a weird precedent to set. And I don't know if he heard anything I said. Apparently his manager said that he doesn't know who I am, which I assume was supposed to hurt my feelings, but I could care less.
Did you notice that he was wearing, that he was rocking a beard, and did you think that was part of his heel turn?
Definitely. Bad guys have beards. Yeah. Only the good guys are clean shaven. That's why Chael doesn't have a beard.
That's a good point. By the way, what's going on with the new hairstyle? Are you trying to be a little more Helwani-esque?
Definitely. I'm going to start growing my nose next.
Oh, wow. Wow. That is a low blow. No, but really, why did you shave the hair?
I was just sick of it.
That's it? No better reason?
Literally, absolutely. Yeah, just sick of it. I wish I would have done it earlier. But also, when I go through a character change, I like to change my appearance too.
I am a student of facial hair, so I study facial hair, and I noticed you still have the beard, but you've altered it a little bit. No chin part of the beard. What is that? What's the motivation and the significance behind that?
Once again, I changed my persona a little bit, so I got to change my look, and I figured I would ape a little bit of Harley Race.
Oh, I like that. I like that. The legend from Kansas City. Okay, just a few minutes left. We'll let you go. I know you're very busy over there. I want to ask you this. I know they're the rival, but you tell it like it is. What do you think of King Mo going over from MMA to pro wrestling? Do you think that he can do both at the same time?
Well, he's certainly going to, so it's going to be interesting to see. And I think there's a lot of people that are watching that. I mean, there's potential for Dave Bautista to, do that. And, maybe you wrestle for 6 months and then you have one fight a year. I don't know. I think he can do both. I've never met the guy, but, for everything I hear, I think he's a nice guy. He's a hard worker. So it should be interesting to see how that plays out.
But is it a little bit insulting to the industry to think that you can do both? Because I know being an MMA fighter is a full-time job, especially at that level. And then to be a top draw in the pro wrestling world when you have no pro wrestling experience, that's kind of a tall order, no?
Oh, it definitely is. I think both jobs are full-time jobs. That's what I mean. But this is the evolution of our sport. This is, MMA is so huge, and there's a lot of fighters that are fans of pro wrestling, and there's a whole lot of pro wrestlers that are huge MMA fans. So, this is just the next step. I think somebody was going to do it or try it eventually. There's been too many crossover guys from way back when with Ken Shamrock, and even Bas Rutten wrestling for New Japan, and the Japanese culture has always done that. Like they have the UWFI shoot fights, and they're always trying to blur the line between pro wrestling and fighting. And now we have, I don't know if you want to call him the first crossover, but the first guy that said, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And I think he might be the first MMA fighter that with zero pro wrestling experience is just going to cross over and try hard. So it's interesting.
By the way, what's going on with the WWE taking shots at the Ultimate Fighter?
Are they?
Yeah.
Are we?
Well, you know how they have those facts at between the commercials, and they said that SmackDown, I think it was 3 times the ratings that the Ultimate Fighter had last week. And everyone, you know how they always say, oh, different forms of entertainment. Like, wow, that's a pretty clear shot.
That's very much na.
Exactly. I thought that they were two separate entities.
Well, that's a question for somebody else, and I don't know if you're going to get him on your show.
Oh, you don't. Oh, okay. I thought maybe you guys were next to each other right now.
No.
You were in my hometown a few weeks ago, and by the way, I'm really excited about the Cubs run in the playoffs this year. I really think that they can do big things. You were in my hometown a couple of weeks ago, and it was a very unfortunate incident with Jerry Lawler, and you were right there, front and center. What was that? What was going on from your perspective there?
Oh man, that was pretty wild. I run around on Monday nights now that we're 3 hours like a headless chicken, and I have a lot of responsibilities, and I'm involved in a lot of parts of the show, and I didn't know what was going on when it went down. I was tucked away in some corner of the building going over some stuff, and one of the production guys ran up to me, and he said, hey, I don't know what's going on, but Jerry just collapsed. And so I just started sprinting up the gorilla, and as I was running there, I kept passing people, and I saw the looks on their face, and I knew something was up. I knew it was a dire situation based on the way everybody was looking. And I got up there, and I didn't know what was going on in the ring. There was just chaos backstage, and we're trying to clear everybody out of the back. And then I saw Jerry on a gurney, and I was like, okay, this is pretty serious. It was a wild scene, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody has any answers. It looked bad, understand that. Like, I'm pretty sure the consensus was this is not going to end well. And they carted him off in the ambulance, and they took him away. And here's one of those situations where everybody looks, I think everybody was looking at me and Cena like, okay, what do we do now? And that's one of those situations where you got to suck it up, and you either fold like a house of cards or you go out there and you do your job.
How do you? Obviously, you put it very well right there, but how do you focus on the task at hand and block everything out? Obviously, you're not hearing the commentary and all that, so that's not affecting you. But there's a lot of action, there's a lot of commotion, and I'm sure you know him very well. Like, how do you just go out there in front of 20,000 and X million people and just do what you did? And not only that, pull off a great segment I was watching, and not only that, be there with a legend like Bret Hart, which I know was very important to you. I mean, how do you keep it all together?
I think it's a high pressure situation, and I think I work better under pressure. and that was definitely one where not only was the world watching, I think everybody in the back was watching, I try to lead by example. God forbid this ever happens again, and God forbid one of the younger guys ever has to deal with something like this. But, I do believe that the show must go on. And, I had Bret Hart standing next to me, and he grabbed me and he goes, "Hey, kid, you all right?" And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just going to do this. And he was like, "Yeah, the show must go on." Wow. And, here's a guy whose brother Owen tragically fell to his death, and he's saying, we got to go out there and we got to try to get all these people in this arena to forget about what just happened. You know what I mean? And even if it was for 5-10 minutes, I think we did that. And then thankfully by the end of the show we had some good news to report, and the miraculous recovery the guys made now is amazing. It's fantastic.
You did that very well. One of the most memorable episodes of this show was when Paul Heyman was in the studio. People keep asking us to bring him back. I don't think he's done another interview of that kind since. What's it like dealing with Mr. Paul Heyman now?
Oh, it's awesome. It's something I never thought I'd be able to do. I never thought I'd be able to work with him in front of the camera. I worked with him a ton behind the scenes, behind the camera, writing stuff with him, mapping out shows, and to be able to be he's ringside. It's fun. He's my friend, and I think it resonates when we watch. We're both enjoying it. We're just kids in a candy store almost.
Is it almost like it's a weird thing because especially in the MMA world, no one likes to admit that they're wrestling fans. It's like this taboo thing. But for some reason, you and Paul are the guys that keep, like, it's okay to like you guys. You know what I'm saying? People, like, you'll hear, like, media guys talk about you guys. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I certainly don't think I don't think I'm cool by any means. You know what I mean? So I don't know what it is. I've never been one of those cool kids. I can't tell you why that is. I think with Paul, it's definitely probably because of ECW. I think if I had to take a guess, the two of us, there's like a rebel attitude there, and there's definitely some sort of these guys are going to do and say things they're not supposed to do and say. I think that's the appeal.
All right. Last thing before I let you go, how is it possible that in your match 2 days after Chael Sonnen versus Anderson Silva, that the same sequence, the finish of Chael versus Anderson, happened in your match against Daniel Bryan? Was that just the stars aligning or what?
I don't know if it was the stars aligning or if it was just, I know if Chael connected with that back fist, it would have been all over. And I figured there's no way lightning can strike twice, So I figured I was just going to end Daniel Bryan right then and there with the same back fist that Chael taught me. And, I'm quite embarrassed. I slipped just like Chael did. And, I think I recovered a little bit better than he did. But yeah, it was just kind of a freak coincidence. Yeah,
that was crazy. That was unbelievable. By the way, do you think he'll do well at 205?
Chael?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, of course.
All right, just checking. I don't know. Maybe you like him better at 185.
No, I think sometimes when he cuts weight, he looks too gaunt. I think it takes too much out of him. It'd be good to see him at 205.
Will you be at that fight in December?
I don't know where I'm going to be like in 3 days. I don't know where I'm going to be in December.
They dangled the carrot of you walking out with him, and people they want that moment.
Yeah, when and where is it?
December 29th, Las Vegas, Nevada, UFC 155, MGM Grand Garden Arena.
Oh, shit, I'm wrestling. Watch this. I'm going to grab my calendar really quick.
Oh, we could break some news right now.
We'll tell everybody right now.
Okay.
It's the 29th of December.
That's a Saturday night. Chael Sonnen versus Forrest Griffin, number 2.
I would love to be there to see Forrest Griffin unceremoniously get his ass kicked, but I will be in Washington, D.C. at the Verizon Center. It's 7 p.m. start. You can come see me.
All right. You can also see CM Punk on the new 3-disc set, DVD or Blu-ray. CM Punk, best in the world. As he mentioned at the top, and I agree 100%, even if you aren't a wrestling fan, if you are a fan of a guy who supports our great sport of MMA, a fan of someone who made it and defied the odds, and I'm not joking about all of this, you want to watch the documentary. It's one of the better ones, if not one of the best ones the WWE has done in the last few years, and they're known for their great production. It's called CM Punk Best in the World, and it's out tomorrow everywhere in the world. You need to pick it up, and I am proud that he came on the show today to talk to us for a few minutes. Non-wrestling guys, I appreciate that very much, CM.
No problem. Thanks for having me. I hope we managed to piss off a lot of MMA purists.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you have that wrestling guy on your show?
Oh, they hate it, and I love it.
I know. I love that they hate it. I hope they tweet me and say that I wouldn't last a round against John Bones Jones.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
Good luck in Sacramento tonight, and looking forward to seeing you very soon.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for having me on.
All right, there he is, the WWE champion himself. Check out the DVD. It comes out tomorrow. It's great stuff. It's a great documentary about his rise to the top of the world of professional wrestling, and he's a huge MMA fan, as you might have noticed by now. We've interviewed him before. You can check it out. You can get it anywhere, Amazon, any other store. CM Punk, Best in the World. There it is, 3-disc set. You can check him out on Twitter and send that hate mail his way at twitter.com/CM Punk.